Hi there, this is Susan Norrell, and we are going to be discussing combining like terms. In combining like terms, we have a couple of steps that we need to take. The very first step is that we're going to change all of our subtraction signs to adding the opposite to avoid confusion. So in this first example here, we have 1, 2, 3 subtraction signs. So if we simply change that minus 7x to plus a negative 7x. See, if we look at that as minus a positive 7x and we change it to plus a negative 7x, minus a positive 9 to plus negative 9, minus a positive 11 to plus a negative 11. So all we're doing is changing those minus signs to plus the opposite of what it actually is. We're changing everything to plus signs. And then that way we can use our addition rules in order to avoid confusion. Our second step is we're going to group like terms together. So you'll notice here that we grouped the x cubed terms together. And in doing so, we just moved them here. So we had 3x cubed and 1x cubed. So we just move that together. Notice that's a positive 3x cubed and a positive 1x cubed. So we take the sign in front of the number when we move them together. We had a positive 4x squared and a positive 2x squared. So we move those together. When we move the numbers together, we move their sign with them. Now notice that we had plus a negative 7x and plus a positive 12x. So we moved those together and we moved the signs with them. We had a positive or plus negative 9 plus negative 11. So we moved those signs with the number. The signs always go with the number. The next step is to add the coefficients with the like terms. The coefficients are simply the numbers in front of the variables. So I have a positive 3x cubed and a positive 1x cubed. If there's not a number in front of the variable, there is an assumed 1 because we have at least one x cubed value. So 3x cubed plus 1x cubed would give me 4x cubed. 4x squared plus 2x squared. 4 plus 2 are the coefficients. 4 and 2 are the coefficients. So 4 plus 2 would give me 6x squared. So we're adding the numbers in front of the variables that are like terms. Negative 7x and positive 12x. Now here, my signs are different. See, over here, my signs were all the same. So when the signs are the same, you add the numbers and you keep the same sign. Signs were both positive, so we added the numbers and kept the positive sign. Signs were both positive, we added the numbers and kept the positive sign. But when the signs are different, we subtract the numbers and we take the sign of the largest number. 12 is larger than 7, so we'll keep the positive number. So 12 minus 7 is going to give me 5. And because 12 is larger, I'll take the positive 7. So that's going to give me positive 5x. Now, why does that work? If we think about it on a vertical number line, and we let 0 be a water level, Think of -7 as 7 feet below the water level. And positive 12x means I'm going to go up 12 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You'll notice now I am positive 5 feet above the water. And so that is where we're getting this positive 5. So I try to think about it in a vertical number line where 0 is the water level. Positive numbers, I'm up here breathing. Negative numbers, I'm down here not breathing. And that sometimes helps me when I'm trying to add and subtract negative numbers. Over here, -9 plus -11. Both of these are negative numbers. So if the signs are the same, we add the numbers and we keep that negative sign. So 9 plus 11 is 20, and keep the negative sign, so -20. And that makes sense because if you're -9 feet below the water and you go down 11 more feet, you're going to be even more negative. You're going to be even further below the water level. And now when you state your answer here, you'll notice that all of your variables have different exponents, which will not be like terms. In order for them to be like terms, they have to be the same variable with the same exponent. So let's see if we can try a couple of these. Notice in this first example, we're going to combine 2x plus 4x plus x. So in order for them to be like terms, they have to be the same variable with the same exponent. All of these are x, so they're the same variable. If there's not an exponent, there's an assumed exponent of 1. So they're the same variable with the same exponent. So all three of these would be considered like terms. We can combine all three terms. Remember, if there's not a coefficient, if there's not a number in front of a variable, there's an assumed 1. So 2x plus 4x would give me 6x plus 1x. And 6x plus 1x would give me 7x. If we look at this second one, we have 2x squared plus x minus 5 plus x squared minus 4x plus 9. So remember, the first step is to change subtraction to adding the opposite to avoid confusion. So you'll notice I have 1, 2 subtraction signs. So if we replace those, 2x squared plus, we'll go ahead and write this as a 1x. But instead of saying minus a positive 5, let's say plus -5. Plus, we'll go ahead and put a 1x squared. And instead of saying minus positive 4x, we'll say plus -4x. Remember, we're going to add the opposite change each one to an addition sign. And then our last one is plus 9. So we have everything changed to addition signs. Now we can start grouping like terms. So you'll notice that I have 2x squared and 1x squared. So we can place those together. Positive 2x squared plus 1x squared. Let's see, I have plus 1x plus negative 4x numerical values. I have plus negative 5 plus positive 9. And you can see by the bottom of each value, I've got all my values, but now they're grouped by like terms. So the first thing here is positive 2x squared plus 1x squared. We will now add coefficients of like terms. Remember, the coefficients are the values in front of the variables. So we have positive 2 plus positive 1, which would give me positive 3x squared. Keep the same variable with the exponent. We don't change that when we're combining like terms. We have positive 1x plus negative 4x. Now again, here my signs are different. So I'm going to subtract my numbers and take the sign of the bigger number. 4 is larger than 1, so I'm going to keep the negative sign. So 4 minus 1 is 3, and I'm going to make that a negative. So minus 3, keep the same variable of x. So minus 3x plus negative 5 plus positive 9. Again, signs are different. So I'm going to subtract the numbers, but this time the larger number is positive. So I'm going to keep the positive sign. And 9 minus 5 is 4. So that would be plus positive 4. So my final answer there is 3x squared minus 3x plus 4. This time you'll notice that I have a minus sign I need to distribute to each value inside the parentheses before I can combine like terms. So that's going to give me 6x squared minus 10 minus 3x squared Notice that's changing the sign of each of these numbers. So a minus negative 2x would give me plus 2x. Now I'm going to change each minus sign to plus the opposite. So this is minus a positive 10. I'm going to make it plus a negative 10. Minus a positive 3x squared. I'm going to make it plus a negative 3x squared. So 6x squared plus negative 10 plus negative 3x squared plus 2x. Now I've got everything changed to addition, so I'll have less confusion. I'm going to move like terms side by side. So I have positive 6x squared plus negative 3x squared Notice I put my variables in decreasing order. Their exponents are always in decreasing order. I'll have the x squared, then I'll move to the x to the power of 1. So I'll do plus 2x. And then lastly, I'll put the value that has no x at all, plus negative 10. Now I can combine my two x squared values. Positive 6 and negative 3 signs are different, so I'll subtract the numbers and take the sign of the bigger number. Bigger number is positive, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So that will give me 3x squared. I have nothing to combine with the 2x or the negative 10. Notice there were no other like terms there. So I'll just leave that plus 2x plus negative 10 would just be minus 10. We'll go ahead and simplify that back out. 3x squared plus 2x minus 10. Now this one has two variables, and right off the bat it wants me to distribute times 2. So remember, in order to be like terms, it has to be the same variable with the same exponent. If there's more than one variable, then you've got to have the same variable combination. So here I have a squared b plus 2 times 3 would give me 6 a squared b. Two times negative 5a would give me negative 10a. Now remember, if there's not a number in front of the variables, there's an assumed one. So you might notice here I've only got 2 like terms. This minus 10a doesn't have a like term to combine with it. So I don't need to bother changing that to plus negative 10a because it has nothing to combine with. So 1a squared b plus 6a squared b is going to give me 7a squared b. And then I'll bring down that minus 10a. And there's my final answer. That one was a little trickier. Okay, we have positive 5x squared minus 1x squared minus 4x cubed plus 8. First thing, let's change these subtraction signs to plus the opposite. So let's do 5x squared plus negative 4x cubed plus negative 1x squared. Remember, if there's not a coefficient, there's an assumed 1, plus 8. Everything's changed to addition, so you'll have less confusion. We can move like terms to be side by side. So positive 5x squared plus negative 1x squared and then we'll have plus negative 4x cubed and then plus 8. Notice neither one of those last two terms have a like term to combine with. So we have 5 plus negative 1. Coefficients have different signs, so subtract the numbers and keep the positive sign because the 5 is larger than 1. So positive 4x squared. I'm going to move the negative 4x cubed over to the front because I want to put the variables in decreasing order. I want the exponents in decreasing order. So I want this x cubed out front. And I'm going to go ahead and just make it negative 4x cubed. Since that's a positive 4x squared, we'll put that plus sign there. Plus 4x squared, and then don't forget your plus 8. And there's your final answer. All right, I want you to pause the video and try this last problem completely on your own. Okay, if you haven't paused it, pause it, try it on your own. Notice they've already changed the negative to plus a negative, so that wasn't subtraction. But we'll go ahead and move the 2r next to the plus negative 4r and the plus 1 next to the plus 7. So 2r plus negative 4r should give me negative 2r because my signs are different, so I'll subtract the numbers and keep the negative sign because 4 is larger than 2. And again, if that's confusing to you, think about a vertical number line where the water level is 0. If you're 2 feet above the water level and you go down 4 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, notice that puts you 2 feet below the water level. So that puts you down here at negative 2. Positive 1 plus 7 should give you positive 8. And there's your final answer. All right, I hope this video was helpful. I will also have some other resources for you in this module, so reach out if you need some extra help. Have a great evening.